Yeah. Oh, the Israelis are probably taking all that. They've already taken all the land. There's nothing to buy.
Well, I guess the big question is if China's going to get involved in.
Yeah. All right. So, welcome to another edition of the Option Genius podcast. Today is March 4th, 2026, and we are talking about the Iran war, or if you want to call it the Epstein war or the Israel war, I don't know, uh, and how to profit from it. So, just to be sure, just a disclaimer, right? We are for financial or entertainment and education purposes only. We're not telling you what to invest in. We're going to be throwing ideas out there. Some of them might work, some of them might not work. Use your brain. Don't trade with the rent money. And also, we are not saying that we want to profiteer from anybody suffering. War is atrocious. Anytime anyone is killed, it's usually whenever there's a war, most of the people who suffer are the civilians and the bystanders, and that's always horrible. So we're not downplaying anyone's death or suffering, but we are trading and we're traders. Um, Wars happen, and we as traders have to protect our portfolios and our trades. And then we have to look for opportunities to profit no matter what market comes or what the economy throws at us or what the governments throw at us. Um, and so it's it's an interesting situation. Um, and I know there are going to be people that say, "Hey, you shouldn't be talking about this. You shouldn't be trying to make money from the war." But eh, you
The
know,
world. Yeah.
that's kind of what we do. Like we try,
Yeah,
no
I mean,
matter.
you can't stop being who you are, right? What you got to do.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just world events. This is what's going on in the world right now. It's impacting everything. If there was something else that was impacting the stock markets and the financial markets, we'd be talking about that. You know, the financial crisis. Okay, how do you protect yourself and actually make money on the deal, right? Everybody, when the financial crisis happened, nobody knew. So very few people knew that you could actually short the mortgage market,
You're right. That's
right?
actually, I think a lot
Nobody,
of people saw it right after the Big Short. They're like, oh, wait a minute, you can do that?
yeah, nobody knew about that, but there were a few people. And then the guy from one of those movies, he actually had to go and create or have the banks create an instrument that he could buy to short the mortgage market, right? It wasn't available before. They actually had to create it before it happened. So it wasn't done. Um,
Which I would like to say it's amazing how fast they made that market for them.
mhm.
Anything to make money. So they're like, oh, yeah, we'll take that bet.
Yeah, it's like
Let's
insurance, right? It's like,
make it,
okay,
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, he wanted to buy puts, and they're like, okay, well, we'll make some puts and we'll sell them to you.
we'll take your money. Sure.
Yeah, we'll sell it. And they thought it was a sure thing. Now after, like during that caused a lot of pain for a lot of people for years. And then you see
Still,
the movie, and those guys are like heroes now. Like, oh, you made billions on the shorting the mortgage market. Congratulations. Like,
yeah, they go down like kind of like gods in a way, right?
for Wall Street, yeah, maybe not
Or
for
Wall
regular
Street.
people, but
Oh,
on
Wall
Wall
Street,
Street.
yeah. Well, we live in a
uh,
Wall Street infamy.
Yep. Yep. So Rafet Jordan saying welcome back from Jordan. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Um, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. And like, there was another guy, Jesse Livermore,
Yeah.
um, world famous, well, maybe not world famous, but at least US famous in the history of the stock market, the boy plunger. He made $1 million on the Great Depression, the crash, the market crash of 29. And $1 million back then was like real money, right? It's
$1 million
1925.
was $1 million.
He made $1 million. Um, and he was vilified in the markets. People, they tore him apart. Like, how can you make money off everybody suffering? How can you do that? Well, somebody had to take the other side of the market, right? He was the one that was shorting, and then when everything stopped going down, he was the one that was buying and making it on the way up as well. Uh, and so that's the way the markets work.
Yeah,
So
I mean, you have to
I
have
guess,
a lot of conviction, right? Yeah, I mean, to make that happen.
so I mean, I guess you could say it's, emotionally or ethically you should not. And I get that, but just the same, there are people who invest in casinos. There are people who invest in gun manufacturers or cigarette manufacturers. There's people who have bought Monsanto, which creates Roundup, which is, I don't know, but some people say that it causes birth defects and cancer and all these other issues.
Mhm.
So who knows what we're investing in? You invest in Microsoft and they supply AI to the government. They supply AI to other countries. Their AI helped Israel bomb Gaza. So was that a bad thing? Should we not buy Microsoft? I don't know. Where does the line stop? Who knows? But um,
I do love the idea that you have the vote to vote with your money, right? You can put it in any kind of company that you believe is doing the right thing, right?
yes, yeah.
So,
So
to
you
that
don't have
effect,
to. You don't have
that's
to.
what I love
But
about it, right? So,
yeah. But we need to come up with stuff to talk about every other day on the show. So we're talking about what's going to happen. And, so for example, I put on a trade a couple of days ago. That was, I don't know if it was the best idea, right? But I put it on. So I don't mind sharing it. It was an oil trade. Now we in the Club Genius, we sell oil options. We've been doing that for years, and it's been doing very, very well, right? The last couple of years has been really
it's
phenomenal.
especially this past year. Yeah.
Yeah, especially this year. And I saw that the OVX, which is the oil volatility, had jumped a couple of days ago to it was, about 60, almost 70, which is very, very high. And whenever it gets that high, it doesn't really stay,
Mhm.
right? So I'm betting, okay, volatility is going up. The option prices have gone up considerably. I did not have any positions on. I had already gotten, because of the run up in oil, I had puts on for the previous month. I got out of those because they made their profit. So now I'm sitting here. It's like 46 days to expiration. I'm looking, okay, I want to put some more trades on, but volatility has exploding. Oil is shooting upwards. I don't know what to do. What trade should I do in this situation, right? So I looked at it and I'm like, well, my instinct is to sell puts. And so when I looked at the puts, um, which
Not
ones did
giving you too much, huh?
which ones did I do? I did 57 puts, and I got 66 cents for each one. Now, 57 puts at that time, oil was trading at around 70, somewhere around there. And so it had already made a big move. Volatility was up. Normally we don't get 66 cents for puts, we get maybe in the 40 range. So this was definitely elevated. So I'm like, hey, I can do this. But then I also looked at the call side. Now, the call side is a bearish trade, right? So if I sold calls, which ones would I do on those? Those turned out to be the 105s.
Wow,
So I'm
okay.
thinking, okay, I could sell these and I could get 82 cents for those. Now that is incredibly high for calls. Normally we get about 30 cents.
Right, totally.
So this is
The other way.
almost
The other way.
triple. This is
Yeah.
almost triple of what we're getting. And if I do those as well as the puts, there's no extra margin. Well, maybe a little bit extra margin because we're talking about futures options. But now I have risk on both sides. So I'm thinking, okay, you know, oil's gone up. It can go up higher. It can go past 100. And we'll talk about scenarios on how that could happen today. Um, so should I do the 105s? And I decided, you know what? I'm going to take a risk and I'm going to go ahead and do them. My reason being was the volatility. So this is not a normal trade that we would do. This is just to take advantage of the high volatility. And my idea was that if, the OVX is up in the 70s, it's going to stay there for maybe a week and then it's going to come down, which it normally does. And so I would be okay. And of course, oil was at 70, so it already made a sharp move higher, and it was about 70, 71, something like that. And so I still had another $30 in range to the 105. So
Right.
I'm thinking, I'd like to get it where, if volatility comes down, if I sell these at 82, I might be able to make 30 cents like within a week. That's $300 on each one. So that's not a bad trade to my mind.
That's where you would exit out.
Yeah, I think I have to play it by ear. I don't really normally do this, but this was one thing that I decided to do and take a chance on. Um, the next day, oil goes up more, volatility went up more. The day after, which is today, oil is actually flat today, and volatility is still up for oil. OVX is now trading at around 74 and a half.
Yeah.
So it definitely continues to go up. And so my 80, what is it? The 105 calls, which were trading at, I bought them or I sold them at 82 cents. They're now trading at $1.29. So I'm sitting on about a $5,000 loss.
Okay.
The other ones, the puts, they've gone from 66 cents to 60 cents. So a $500 gain on those around roughly. Um, So I'm definitely suffering more on the calls than I'm making on the puts because the volatility is still high. Now, if volatility comes down, then great. We did have Trump come out yesterday and say, "Hey, we're going to provide insurance. The federal government is providing
If
insurance
necessary.
for anybody who's going to be shipping in the strait, and then we'll also be doing escorts. So the Navy is going to be doing babysitting." Okay. Bassett came out today. He said the same thing. Then he said, we have other ideas of what we're going to be doing to keep oil flowing. If they can do that, then yes, volatility, oil will come down pretty quickly. And I think the oil price will also come down very quickly. Can they do that or not is the question, right? And that's the thing that I was noticing this because I haven't been watching the TV news about the
For
war.
you, bravo.
I have been trying to stay up on top of it, but I've been more reading. So I've been on different websites reading the coverage of the journalists. And it does seem like they are downplaying the war. So it's like, oh yeah, we're in the third day or fourth day, whatever it is, fifth day. I don't know what it is. Oh, Saturday, right? So Saturday, Sunday,
Okay.
Monday, Tuesday, today's Wednesday, it's the fifth day. And you don't see or you don't hear a lot about, oh, how many bombs did they hit with Iran and how many drones or whatever did Iran fire back? I haven't seen a lot of that. No. So I was thinking in my mind, oh, there's probably not much going on. Because like the first two times when Israel attacked Iran, it
Oh
was like
yeah,
a
they're like
it-
172 ballistic missiles were launched
yeah,
in a day.
exactly,
And,
right? And it was like a 1 or 2 day thing and one and done. They made one attack and then it was over. So I'm thinking it's maybe something similar to that because, as Trump said, they killed everybody. So whoever's in charge is dead. The people that they thought were going to be in charge, they're dead, and the people under them, they're dead. So everybody's like dead. Right? That's what Trump said. So I'm
so they've
like,
got no
okay.
reporting methods.
So if everybody's dead, then nobody's pressing the button to fire the missiles. But that's not true, actually. They are firing missiles, they are attacking other countries and the energy facilities around the Middle East. So I found that out on like a international
Mhm.
reporting site. And also last night I was watching Halima Croft, who is a oil analyst, and she was saying that Iran is still attacking other places, but the volatility should stay high because these other countries like Qatar, Saudi, UAE, they are being attacked with drones, right? So Iran is firing these $20,000 drones. They take $20,000 to make these drones, and
Right, so
they're
they have lots of them.
yeah, and it takes. $1 million missile to shoot them down.
So they're
And
just
and so these countries are now running out of these missiles. So it's only going to take, according to her, it's only going to take one drone hit on a refinery, on a pumping thingy, on a pipeline to send oil up 10%, 20%, 30%.
which they have. Correct me if I'm wrong. They have hit a couple of facilities, I think, in Saudi Arabia and whatnot.
They hit the biggest LNG, liquid natural gas facility
Right.
in the world.
They're not producing. Yeah.
In the world. And so that is causing a lot of problems for people who depend on liquid natural gas, which is mainly Europe.
Yeah.
Because Europe, they have two sources. One was Qatar and one was Russia. So they already shut off Russia, sanctions and whatnot. And now they can't get anything out of that facility. And even if they could, it'd have to go through the strait. So
That's a rather bigger story, I think.
yeah, so Russia, or not Russia, but Europe is in a bind, and they're gonna have to figure something out. So their prices are gonna be going higher for heating, and cooling and everything, really. So that's that case. Um, and now you had mentioned that you're like, hey, all these other countries, their stock markets are going down, right?
Yeah. So South Korea. Um,
South Korea is one of them. All the like Japan,
yeah. Mhm.
China, all of these other countries over there, they're suffering. But the U.S. market, like today, we're up 1%. Yeah.
Yeah. A little bigger.
What's the dichotomy? What's the difference? Well,
Yeah.
I think it's because of oil. Those all of those countries are massive oil importers.
Mhm.
And like for take a look at China. China gets 50% of its oil from or through the Strait of Hormuz. So if that strait is shut down, they are now cut off from 50% of their oil. But for China, I mean, those guys are really smart over there. They've been stockpiling oil for years. And so they have enough capacity, in reserve.
Just
So
like we
they're
do. We have a reserve,
they're
obviously.
okay. Well, we're a producer. Like we're an
A producer
exporter.
and we have a reserve.
Yeah, so we're gonna be fine. If we have enough to export, then we have enough here. It's okay. No problem. We're not gonna like really worry about it for here. And I think that's the reason we're going up. But somebody like a Korea or a Japan, they have to bring it in. And now where are they gonna get it from? So I think that's the case because that's just going to send all the prices higher for them for everything. Yeah. Everything to ship in is going to cost a lot more money. And then just keeping everything running, keeping the lights on is going to keep a lot more money. And so,
Well,
it,
yeah, I think the longer, like you said, the longer that it drags on, it'll eventually trickle to the US and whatnot.
yeah.
Um,
So that's the big thing what you just said. That's a huge thing. Like, how long does this last?
mm,
And I think Trump and his team are doing their best to downplay the bad side, right? And so we don't hear that much about what Iran's doing, and we hear, "Oh yeah, we'll insure everything, and we'll babysit everybody else, all the ships." Okay,
well, even
well,
some of the senators and whatnot that have been briefed, they came
mm.
out and they're like, I'm not really, I don't really know much more than I usually do. They're like, usually we come out of these meetings saying, okay, I understand deeper at a deeper level why we did this. One guy, I forget his name, he came out and he said, I'm no better off shape than I knew before about what we're doing. So yeah. I know that they all play different tilts on that too, right? Because you had like Lindsey Graham count, he's like, this is the best thing, I believe it. And then there are other guys like, I don't know what's going on. And politics gets in there, of course.
Yep, definitely, definitely. Um, so I think, so that was one way I was playing it. I, we're looking at everything else. Um, and the funny thing was that I thought that gold was going to go skyrocketing higher, but it didn't. And then, day two, yesterday, Tuesday, it actually fell 5%.
Yeah, it did. It was quite notable. Yeah, very.
So I was like, okay, why? And then kept looking, kept digging. It's like, oh, the dollar was up, and the dollar's been up. Dollar's getting stronger. And the rates on the short term, the 2 year and the 10 year for the US Treasuries, those are going up as well.
Mhm.
Now, the Fed hasn't said anything, but the Treasuries are still getting higher. So something is off here,
Yeah,
right?
I thought it was very interesting that people are piling into bonds. That was
Mm-hmm.
quite interesting.
Yeah. And then today we had the ADP number for private payrolls, which is not the official government number, but it's a private number, but it kind of lends to what might be coming. And there were only about 60,000 jobs that were created. And then the revised January.
I'm waiting
So,
for the revive.
yeah, so the January one was revised to just 11,000 jobs created, which is in an economy or in a country of 300 million people, that's like nothing,
Yeah.
right? So no jobs were created in January. February will probably get revised downward as well. And so the economy is not growing. Everyone is not participating. Yes, people are still spending, but we're on the tipping point here. Things are going down, I
Yeah,
think.
they talk
Things are
about the K-shaped economy and they're worried about the K breaking, right? And then that will create a lot of problems.
Yeah, then you have like like a half Y or something. Like, if you break off the bot,
They
if
take
you
that
break
top
off
right
the leg
off.
of the K.
Yeah, that's not good. Yeah.
I don't know if they can stand on just that one leg. They need both legs to stand up. So that's the case there. Now I do think gold is going to continue to rally, right? So gold went down yesterday. I think gold went down because of, in my opinion, it was everything went down,
Hmm.
right? So the markets were down, oil was up big, but every other asset was down, and I think gold went down with it because of what is happening in the gold market up till this point, where there's a lot of people in gold that normally would not be in gold.
Right. So they got to exit.
So because they felt some pain, right? They're like, "Oh, this might be it. This might be it. Everything's going lower." They got out of gold too, and it was like a sell first, ask questions later kind of thing.
It's like shaking
Um,
the tree, right? Shaking the weak hands up.
yes, exactly. And so today gold is up, not much, but 0.2%. Silver is flat. Platinum is up 4%. But I think that the gold and the metal story is still intact, still going higher. So that is definitely one way to profit from this. It has nothing to do with the war. It's just one way to make money. I did also look at some of these defensive stocks,
Hmm.
like a Lockheed Martin. They are doing well. But in a war, I mean, they do well, but then it all sells off, right? So it's
As
like a
soon as
knee
they have
jerk.
something.
Yeah, it's a knee jerk reaction. It goes up and then it sells off. So I don't know if that's going to be a long term thing there. Um, but definitely oil. For now, it will stay at this range as long as there is somebody in Iran still in power. So,
Right.
um, but I was still hesitant. Like, okay, if I sell puts, and if this war doesn't last very long, then we could lose. You could see $10 come out of the price because the war is over and the geopolitical risk is now over because Iran, has been neutered, so to speak. They don't have nuclear power. They don't have their leadership. They're going to be in disarray, so they won't be an issue anymore. And
Yeah.
so
I
we might.
really do. I just think I think we're kind of fooling ourselves that this is going to be a Venezuela. Like we're just going to be, it's going to be over. Um, you know, they're you can already see that they've killed what the Ayatollah. They killed the new supreme leader and the new one. I don't know what we're down to now, like five or six, but they're designed to survive, right? In a way. So I'm not sure. Not like anyone knows how this goes, but I think I'm leaning on that. It's going to take longer than we think.
And the administration said it might take 5, 6 weeks. It might take longer, usually does. I don't know if they're going to put boots on the ground. I know Israel has boots in Lebanon, like they've already invaded Lebanon. Will anybody put their army in Iran? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think that's the plan.
Yeah.
Um, but you know, for what it's worth, like the Trump administration, they admitted yesterday that they didn't think about the insurance aspect of shipping through the straits.
Well, they didn't even talk about they said they didn't even think about the evacuation plans of people that happen to be in the Middle East that are Americans.
Oh, damn.
They're like, well, it happened so fast, and it's like, oh,
No, 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 no.
yeah,
You knew this well in advance. This
yeah,
was this was planned. This
right,
was very much planned. They knew in advance. They had already told Saudi, they had already told France, they had already told England that this was happening, and they told them the date. They admitted this, um, and they knew well in advance, and they were still having peace talks last week, right?
yeah,
They met with Iran on Thursday, and they're like, okay, we haven't reached an agreement, but we're going to meet again next week. And that was all a farce. That was all
right.
fake.
There's a plan to a plan to a plan, of course.
Yeah. So, oh my God, how do these people? I don't know how. Like, it's like a whole different world. It's like they mind games. Like, whoo. But
But even more
well,
so, I mean, I think you have to be measured, right, in this environment, right? You can't knee jerk react to any kind of even, any kind of trade that you're in. You have to think about the duration of things and thinking about second and third level principles of thinking, right? Um, Thinking through everything, right? And it's
but I
not
mean, there's so many
important not to knee
unknowns.
jerk, right? Just be like,
Yeah,
okay, in this world,
just
be gold's going up, wait, and then you're in trouble. You can't be like that, right?
yeah. I mean, stay calm, carry on, kind of thing, right? But the thing is, again, we don't know.
Yeah, but no one knows, right?
We don't know. Like if these drones do reach some of these refineries or whatnot, that could take months to repair if anything happens. So that could lead to oil prices much higher. There was the guy who was, I guess he was the head of the Iranian Guard. Um, he was quoted as saying, "We're going to take oil to 200. Like this is not over."
Yeah, I mean they want to like anybody, they're gonna try to hurt you, impact you economically, right? I
Any
thought it
way
was
they
really
can.
interesting that they're hitting data centers, they're hitting all these, you know, anything to do with
Amazon.
AI.
They,
Really, yeah, they did. I mean, it's really interesting, right? I don't think they're just discriminately shooting off these drones, right? Just because they want to, right?
no, they have targets in mind,
They have
right?
exact targets. That's the point, right? So they're hitting data centers, they're hitting, um, Abu Dhabi, Doha, all these places, right? So
But at this point, it's like fight for survival for
yeah,
them. It's
yeah.
like, hey, they're probably going to kill me anyway. There's probably a missile coming right on my head right now. I might
Well,
as
you got to
well,
think about what would you do if your back is against the wall and you believe in what you believe, they're going to do anything. That's the
yeah,
scary part.
launch them all, launch them
And
now.
they may be close to that, and that's a scary proposition,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Fire at will. Let's leave it all on the table, leave it on the field, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Don't hold back because you're not getting another chance.
very, very fluid for
Very,
sure.
very interesting situation. So I've been thinking about, and I've been like worried about this 105 calls in oil, and I'm like, oh man, please go down in price. I'd like to even get out at break even. Like I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose money, but
Well,
I'm
I mean,
willing.
you have some things going again for you in the trade, I would say, right? It's
Yes,
the U.S. is going to be fine, right? They can always raise more oil or produce more. Saudi Arabia,
but
um,
they can't get it out. They
they can not get it out that way, right? Through the Hormuz, but they could get it out the other way, I imagine.
uh, maybe. I think those. I think that whole system will be maxed out. So
Yeah.
they'll be
You're
capped in
talking
terms
about
of.
20% of the world's oil will flow through there.
I think 30. I think it's like 30%.
Yeah, but it's relatively not as high as people think.
But it's
Um,
all of the natural gas, like a
yeah,
lot of natural gas. So
yeah.
that will also play. But um,
I don't
yeah,
know. So
so
what do you think? You're just gonna kind of hold for now?
yeah, I'm just gonna hold.
I think you may be able to weasel your way out of this one.
If I see like the premise was, hey, volatility will should come down. So today volatility in oil is up 0.6%, so not very much. Give me 3 or 4 days where volatility doesn't go up, and then this will get me back to break even.
Yeah. So something's got to change in this war for that to happen.
Uh, yeah, I think it's just a matter of like, will the Trump administration back up what they said, right? Will the ship start making it through?
Could it
If
be a
they,
few ships that get through that are, protected by the U.S. and that may
right,
be enough for you
yeah,
to get trade in?
yeah,
Maybe.
then I think everything calms down.
Now, if one gets shot
Oh
there,
hell yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah.
that's concerning, right?
Yes, then we're looking at probably $90 oil.
So yeah,
So what now the question is, should I have even made the trade? Probably not. Now that I think about it, it's like, there are times when you want to make a trade, but times when the risk is not worth the reward. And in this situation, I think it's one of those.
well, I think that's natural. A lot of people, we all do that at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe a trade, like we said, it works out fine, but then you just kind of notate that of
It's like,
why
yeah, yeah.
you did take the trade when you go back to review it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. It's like I think I got overconfident. Like, oh yeah, I'm so smart, right? Like, oh yeah, well, volatility's up, great. I'm getting a lot of premium. And that's like a beginner mistake.
Well, you're reading the patterns of what you've seen before, right? And not every pattern is the same, right? They have different variations. So this could be a little bit different,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
Um,
Maybe I need to hedge myself and turn it into a spread.
Perhaps.
Maybe. Oh boy. Okay, cool. All right. Well, how's
No
everything else
reason to
looking?
panic unless you need to panic, right? So
No, not yet. Not
not
yet.
even that. It's not even near
Definitely,
that.
definitely not yet. So yeah, so I think that's, one way to profit from oil or from gold or the war. The other would be, I think, still be in the metals. They're still going to go higher, especially if this continues. Um,
Our Phoenix trade made a nice profit.
the
Talk
Phoenix
about
trade did I
sure
mean,
did, yeah.
yeah, we had a market power signal yesterday that we did not take because of the war.
Yep.
That one would have worked, the classic. We also had yesterday a double dip, which worked, but we didn't take it, but it would have worked. Some people did take it. I took it, just
I
to
knew
be
I was waiting for you to say that. Yeah.
just yeah, bragging a little bit. I was like, oh yeah, I was brave. I took it. Um, but you could see the market yesterday, right? It hit a low early, and then Trump came out and talked, and then since then it just started wifting higher. And
Yeah.
so I took a chance, put it on, it worked great. So market power yesterday all around was a really good day. Classic would have won, Phoenix hit the lottery, and then the double dip would have won as well. Today, we might have another market power
Oh,
up
it
day.
is getting pretty close there, isn't it? Um,
So
it's on the line.
what's the number at?
I've got ooh, 0.92
Okay, so this,
knocking on the door. Let's see.
yeah. And so it's 1:30, probably a little bit too late for double dip, but yeah, we'll see. Maybe we can get it at the close.
Well, lots of opportunity.
Yeah.
And I would say the Phoenix right now we're in is could probably get out right now. Yeah, for a profit. So look at that. Phoenix looks
Nice.
good too.
Very nice. So yes, there's definitely ways to make money in this market. We did I did post in the club yesterday that we probably need to be a little bit more careful, right? Putting more trades on, how looking at the trades that we're already in.
Hmm.
So the idea was that if you have trades that are in profit, you probably want to decide and think about taking them off and taking a profit and moving to the sideline. The reason being, of course, it's a war. There's a lot of unknowns. I mean, it might not affect us as much on this side of the world, but it could affect the oil prices. So there's that thing that could send everything higher. in terms of inflation and costs and whatnot. So that will definitely help the economy, hurt the economy long term. But in the short term, um, we have not had a correction since the Trump tariffs, the Liberation Day. And
Right.
normally we will get a correction, which is a 10% drop in the market roughly every 50 weeks or so, 50, 52 weeks, about a year, every year, right? We get
So we're
one.
due for the little bit of a
So we're
cleansing.
due for one. That one was in April. Right now it's March. We're due for a little pullback here, and it would be healthy in a sense. The markets are kind of flat. They're not really making new highs. They're just moving sideways. So the war gives it a good excuse to sell and move to the sideline, and then that would, if a lot of people think that way, it'll send things down, and then the algos will take it over, and then they'll start selling, and we'll be down 10% before you know it.
I also
Uh,
like what you said yesterday. You talked about, if you're in credit spreads, right? And you'd like to be in call spreads, looking at spreads that were already weak, right? That were before,
stocks that were
yeah,
already
stocks
weak before the
already
war.
weak before the war. Yeah, would be nice.
Yeah, because that way, if the war ends or something happens, then they'll still be weak.
Right.
They'll
Yeah.
have a little bit of a rebound with everything else, but they won't completely go back to normal where they were before.
Right. You're playing on the weakness.
Yeah. Um, so those are a couple issues that we did talk about. But then you take a look at today, and it's like, oh yeah, market's fine, everything's fine, nothing to see here, right? VIX is at 20, so somewhat elevated, but not that much. And then there was a comment that I read yesterday where the guy was like, if you are not in the market for like the top 10 days of the year, right? You lose out on like more than 50% of the gains of the
I
market.
hear that a lot. Yeah, they're like, if you're in and out of the market, you need to be in the market, right
Right.
time in the market. If you hear that even in Bitcoin, right? It's like, oh, if you're in and out, um, yeah, I guess I mean, to play, you got to be in there for sure.
Not just that, but like, the thing was that the big up days, they come right after the big down days. So
Right,
if you get scared out of the big down day, and like today, we could have had a up 3% move, right? And you would have missed it because you got out yesterday trying to be safe. Um, so there's that
right. And emotion plays into that, right?
option, right?
It
Yeah.
plays into that a lot. Or you could just be like, okay, the sky's falling, but more than not, the market will find itself, and then it will rebound to some
And
degree.
and that is for people who are in the index funds. That is for people who are in stocks, right? They actually own the assets.
Mhm.
For us, option traders, I don't think that applies because I can make 10% in a month. So if I miss out on a 20-point rally in the stock market,
Yeah,
I can I can
agree.
still make that back, you
Mhm.
know? Um,
It's how
but
you're playing it. Yeah.
yeah, but if an index investor misses out on 20 points, he's going to have a negative year,
Yeah.
right? So for us, it's a little bit different. We can move to the sideline, wait for things to settle, and then jump back in, which is normally what we practice and what we preach, right? Especially like in the oil markets. We say, hey, when the dragon is awake, get out of the cave. We're not going to be in there.
Right.
Right now, the dragon is awake, and I decided, oh, hey, I'm going mining. It's like, okay, dude, practice what you preach now, buddy. Like, okay, sorry. But yeah, so we'll see how that goes.
So what you did, you move that into your a little bit of your risky, bets.
Yes. So I have to figure out a way. Okay, let's hedge this position so that it doesn't, cause me a lot of pain, even if it goes the wrong way. And that way it's a small portion of the portfolio, which it is, but still, I mean, you know, if we do go to 100 oil tomorrow, this would be a very big, very, very large loss. So, um, that's where asset allocation and capital allocation and all that stuff comes in. Like, how much money do you put in each trade?
Right.
So, uh, all right. Um, Other than that, I don't know which way the markets are moving at this point. And
Yeah, I mean,
so,
even though we've had an update today, I mean, it's quite possible that we, you know, continue to go down, right? I think the story until it's stabilized in some degree, we know
yes,
more.
I mean the SBX has been in a range from about 6550 to 7,000 for months, going back to September. Um, and it's been trading in that range. Right now it's at 6880. So right in the middle of the range. And it doesn't seem to give us any indication of which way it's going to break, either up or down. So steady as she goes. And one of the things we talked about yesterday in the credit spread mastery class was right now in this environment, I'm liking to put on more call spreads than put spreads, just in case.
Yeah, all right. We always like to be balanced, but you're going to be shaded more toward the call, I would think.
Because of all the geopolitical issues, and the market is not giving me any reason not to be pointed bearish.
Right.
So,
Yep. You want to
uh,
protect your money
yeah.
first and foremost.
That said, we're not that far away from an all-time high in the S&P, which is at 7,002.
I know as soon
So,
as they started talking about, oh, 50,000 and 7,000, it's like, okay, usually that's where some kind of change happens, right?
mm. The big thing about today was that Bitcoin's up at 74,000 today, up 8%. And I have not paying attention, but I have no idea why.
I mean, I think it has something to do with of course, Trump, he put out a tweet and on X saying that he wants to get the Clarity Act moved along. So I think that gives people some uh,
Okay.
more rules and regulations around the Genius Act and whatnot.
From what I read, it has something to do with stable coins being able to pay interest,
Right. And the banks
right?
are worried about that. If they do that, they're going to lose share.
Yeah,
Um, so, and then
which they will for sure.
yeah, which they will, right? But I think Trump is like, hey, we need to get this passed. So we'll see what happens. But banks are going to be banks, man. They're going to want to make the money. So I can see why they're going to.
Yeah, I mean, if it passes, they'll start making their own stablecoins if they can. I don't know who's allowed to, but um, if these private companies like XRP and whatever, they can make their own stablecoins, then the banks will make their own stablecoins. And then it'll
Mhm.
be it'll be interesting. Like, okay, which stablecoin do you have? Which coin do you have? It's like, okay, now we got thousands of these different currencies
There's going to be so many.
running
It's going to be like the
around.
stablecoin gold rush.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you have dollars? What? What's wrong with you?
But I think in the bigger picture, like you have AI, right? It's increasing every day. It can't run on the traditional legacy system. It's going to need everything needs to be settled very quickly. So I think we're heading that way, if not already.
Yeah. And there was a article in the Wall Street Journal today where the guy, it was a column, and he took a positive view on the oil situation. And he said that, if Venezuela gets cleared up and, the political issue is not there anymore and they can start taking investments, and in Iran, they are no longer hostile to the U.S. Like there's new people in charge,
Mhm.
obviously, because the old ones are gone. But the new people in charge, even if they're not hostile to the U.S.,
Right.
they'll be more inclined to take outside investment and they will be able to increase the oil production. And so, number one, that will eliminate almost all of the geopolitical risk out of oil. So prices will go down just because of that, because there's nobody fighting anymore in the oil market, right? Nobody hating each
Yeah.
other. And then Iran, at one point before their sanctions and whatnot, they used to pump like more than double what they're pumping now. So they can pump, they're pumping like 3 million barrels a day now. They used to pump 6, 7, 8 million barrels a day. Venezuela also used to pump 6, 7, 8 million barrels a
Right.
day.
I'm glad you brought this up because what does the world look in a positive way, right?
Yeah. And so
I
if
mean, it could
both
open its world.
it'll take years to get both of their facilities up and everything, but it's not because they don't have the oil. Those two have more oil than anybody else. So they could pump more than they used to be pumping. And it's just a matter of, putting the money in investments and having a stable government there. And if that happens, then yes, then oil prices, we'll see oil prices back in the 30s.
Right.
We'll see 99 cents a gallon, if
Can you
possible.
believe it? I mean, no,
It could be, there.
quite
Um,
possible. You
yeah,
have to look at the other side of the coin too.
that'll be bad for all the renewables, but hey, uh, it'll be good for the economy.
Be good
So,
for your calls.
yeah. Then I'll be worried about my puts.
Worry about your puts.
So,
And
yeah.
puts it down at like 15.
So, we'll see how that goes. But for now, yeah, markets are pretty calm and stable today. I guess they're not really moving. SBX not really moving much. So I don't know if we're going to get that market power signal. But if we do, I think it'll be a good one.
You have a run up
Um,
right at the end there. Seen that before.
oh, all the time.
Yeah, so you gotta be ready.
Yep. Cool beans. All right, my friend. I will see you on Friday. And to everybody that's watching, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so. It helps the algorithm. And if you don't, it hurts our feelings. So please, don't hurt
Just
our
hit the
feelings.
button.
Yeah, just hit the button. Just hit the button. Come
Just
on.
hit it, please. Come on.
Yeah, please. All right. We'll talk to you soon.